Welcome into another edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joy Lee McNellis. Lady Eagles, home sweet home. They get this split this week after falling to a very talented Rice team. You come back in kind of a must-win game against the Marshall Thundering Herd, and that's where we want to spend this segment talking about the win over Marshall, a 9-point win, 70-61. 3 runs of at least 7 points in that ball game. Allie Kennedy played big, and the Lady Eagles' second straight game without Shantae Hales were much more comfortable in terms of body language in this game.
Yeah, you could see they had a little bit more pep in their step rather than fear. And, you know, when we played at Rice, Josh, I mean, Shantae got hurt at the very end of practice, and then you're getting on the bus headed to Rice. So it wasn't like there was a lot of time for us as coaches to make that adjustment. There wasn't a lot of time with the players to absorb all of that. So, again, it's kind of like we were just thrown in the pool, swim or drown. And, you know, we did okay at Rice because they're really good in that situation. But I think that you could see us growing up. And you mentioned Allie Kennedy. Allie Kennedy really played extremely well for us today. She did. Offensively, she's just got to play with a little more poise, play with us under control a little bit more. But again, she's growing up right before our eyes. You look at her stat line, and she stepped up, Josh, when we needed her to go 4 for 4 from the free throw line. She did that to be able to get us over that hump in that fourth quarter. 5 players in double figures. That's unbelievable for us. Yeah,
5 players in double figures for the first time since November 25th of 2016 against Alcorn. Jayla King comes out. She gives you the 9th double-double of the year, playing with no practice in between the Rice game and this game, spending time with family after the loss of her grandmother.
Yeah, and, you know, it just says a lot. I mean, she made a sacrifice for this team. Now, she will tell you her grandmother would have wanted her to play at Rice. We found it out right before the Rice game. You know, she could have gone home to be with her family, but she chose to make the Rice game because she believed that we had an opportunity to get a dub. You know, they drove her in right before the game. They, you know, said their goodbyes yesterday to their grandmother, and, you know, she drove in today, this morning, right before the game. And so, again, she was a little out of sync, and you could tell that. I mean, the emotional stress that you go through, then the physical stress of making that drive to come right in. And so that's tough. And so, again, we talked about today about flashback. And I heard it, our preacher today at Temple Baptist Church, that was a part of his sermon. And I used that in our pregame. And you know, for her to make that sacrifice, we talked about flashing back of the people that had made sacrifices for us. And today, this game will always be remembered of a flashback for me that Jayla King made a sacrifice for her, for this team and for our coaches to be able to get a dub today.
And so the Lady Eagles pick up the 9-point win, and now they turn their attention to Old Dominion. And the Lady Eagles are sitting in a 4-way tie for 4th place. The top 3 teams at the moment, there's some separation there, but there are about 5 or 6 teams battling for a bye right now in Conference USA in the regular season. Lady Eagles are right in the mix, and here comes Old Dominion.
And Old Dominion's very good. Coach Nikki McCray played at Tennessee, was an Olympian herself, had unbelievable playing experience, was at South Carolina, you know, part of their program that won the national championship. And she's had unbelievable success as a player and as assistant coach, and now she's the head coach at Old Dominion and has done an unbelievable job taking over that program. Are they struggling? Yeah. When there's change and things are new, that happens. We've experienced that. But I will tell you, they are playing well. They're getting better and better. They have some nice pieces to their puzzle. And you watch them. They're adjusting to the changes that she's made in that program. And I'm going to tell you, it will be a fight here next Saturday as we face Old Dominion, because I'm telling you, they're good, Josh. They're really good.
One of the things we joked about on the radio after the game as we wrap this segment is that you know that this week we'll spend a lot more time working on transition offense, but this team has been spending time. It's just one of those things when you don't have your energizer, when Shantae Hales is not there, she is missed.
You know, she is, and you know, it's like getting in a car without a steering wheel. And you're having to try to make it work. You don't have all the screws to get the wheel back in place. And, you know, you're trying to do the best you can. And, you know, again, Allery and Allie, they've accepted the challenge. And, you know, again, Marshall did a great job in transition defense today, and we were not able to get things going like we would really like for them to do. But again, it's a process. And, you know, it's a change for us again of not having our point guard and them stepping up and taking on some role, and a great time for them to grow, Josh, in that position. Shantae will be back, and so we're looking forward to that, but that's only going to make us better as a team.
And what does it say about this team to score 70 points and 68 of those being in the half court?
You know, and again, we've made some progress, Josh. Every day we're a work in progress, that's for sure. It is truly a journey with us. You know, I told my husband recently, sometimes it's like we're an old car. We get the tires fixed and the engine goes out. And, you know, it's just like we've got to keep working. And this team, because of our youth, Josh, I'm going to tell you, we can't not cover something in practice. If we do, we forgot it the next day. We have to cover every aspect of it, and that is a must for us to continue to make progress there. And so again, that takes a lot of our coaches. It's kind of like we're playing chess sometimes when we're up here working. Okay, if we make this move, then we do here. Then we'll make this move. You know, Coach Hill will say, well, we need to play so-and-so. I'll say, who for? And he'll say, I'm not sure. You know, so those are things that we're having to do. And some people call it you play a little bit with smoke and mirrors to be able to help them grow in a positive way in their overall game. And that's really where we are, Josh. And again, we're getting better. We're getting better. And that's all we can ask for right now.
Well, that's going to wrap this segment as we continue with a very busy Southern Miss Sports Today. When we come back, we've got a treat for you fans. We've got Jamierra Faulkner, one of the best Lady Eagles to ever don the black and gold. She's going to join us, star in the WNBA, a star with Russia in the Euro League. Then we'll also be joined by a couple of special young ladies, two young ladies that laid it all on the line for Southern Miss in this basketball program, Niesha and Nitesha Pierce. We'll just catch up with them and hear the thoughts they have on this program, what they learned, how life has been treating them since they've stepped away from Southern Miss with their degrees and are in the early stages of their young lives. And then Coach McNellis will join us for the final segment to talk about that very special trio as we wrap the show. Stay with us. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today. As we continue with Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joy McNellis, we've got a celebrity with us. Former Lady Eagle Jamierra Faulkner joins us, young lady who is playing on the #1 team in Europe and Russia and also going to be back in the WNBA this summer. You'll be able to catch her stateside. Jamierra, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, what do we owe this honor? How did you make it back over here all the way to Hattiesburg? How did you get enough time in your busy schedule?
Well, we had a break. A national team break this month, and I haven't seen my best friends since the summertime. So I came and spent some time with them, and then of course we always got to come to Hattiesburg.
You got to come to Hattiesburg, and Coach McNellis is kind of your basketball mom. And how does that whole dynamic play out? What do you and Coach McNellis talk about when you're talking in the off seasons or during the seasons? Is it just a lot of catching up on life? Or there's sometimes you got a question for her about the game?
Well, sometimes if I have a question, I'll text her and ask her. But most of the time with her, what I love is it's not always about basketball. We don't always talk about basketball. It's why is your hair like that, or why do you have a new tattoo? It's something funny. It's not always about basketball. She
certainly keeps you in stitches.
Yeah.
I can see that just watching you two interact. And for you though, it is really interesting your rise in Europe. And it was by chance that you land on the #1 team, as I mentioned, in the world, in Russia. I mean, a premier program of the European League. Tell that story.
Well, I actually started last season when I played in Turkey. And then there was a lot of things going on. So during the Christmas break, the second half of my season overseas, I went to Poland. Poland is also a Euro League team that I played for. And my first game was against the team that I'm on now. And we all had like a group meeting with our coach after that game, and he asked us some of our goals, and one of my goals was I'm going to play on that team. And so for me to be on that team now, it was just like a lot of hard work and passion for the game for me to say that I'm going to be playing on that team, and now I'm playing on that team.
And this is something that you talk about hard work, but it was overcoming what for some is a career-ending injury. Sometimes players don't come back from an ACL. You're all the way back, 100% in your words, from an ACL. Take us on a little bit of that journey.
Yeah, it happened in Poland. No contact at all. I just came down on it wrong. I didn't know it was torn until maybe 2-3 weeks after it happened. When I finally got back to Chicago and they told me, and it just, oh no, it just took a toll on me. And you know, there was days when I thought that I wasn't gonna get through it. I was doubting myself when I started, you know, doing basketball workouts again. But like you said, it's a career-ending injury for some people. But if you fight through it and if you want to get through it and you want to keep playing, you'll get through it.
And thank goodness to have the help of the Chicago Sky and Chicago Bull training staff. That staff helped push you through, and you pushed yourself very hard as well, didn't you?
Yeah, they did every day. I had treatment every day, even when our team had off days. I was still there handling business. And then when I went home after Chicago season for about 2 weeks, and I spent time rehabbing at home before I went to Russia, and I was there rehabbing ever since.
People want to know, is the burst back? Is that burst of speed back, that next level speed?
You guys are going to have to wait and see me play. I think I'm faster than I was before.
Wow.
But you guys will have to just watch.
Okay, just the wait and see approach, and certainly she didn't have to convince me to buy a ticket. I don't think she has to convince any of you either. Jamierra, you had a chance to take in this Lady Eagle basketball team today, a young Lady Eagle team without Shantae Hales, the starting point guard, a couple of young ladies who are doing the best they can with limited reps at that position. But you saw a lot of the grittiness from the Lady Eagles that reminded you of when you played, didn't you?
Yeah, I think that the ones that played out of position today, they did a great job. They did what they could. I just think more taking care of the ball, a little better than that. Other than that, we got some. Jayla King is, you know, she does her thing, rebounding and hustle plays, and that's what Coach McNellis loves. But she also hates turnovers. So I think taking care of the ball is one of the most important things this team has to do.
We're wrapping up with Jamierra Faulkner. I wish we could just spend you know, an hour with her and just go through everything. But Jamierra, you talk a lot about, we talked on the radio earlier today about the process, and that's been one of the biggest things you've taken away from Coach McNellis in this program. And I can't help but think back to the early parts of your career as you were learning your way. What were the biggest things that you leaned on during that part of the growth of your game, and now as your game is taken to a whole nother level?
Yeah, when I first got here, it was just, I just felt like it was something I couldn't handle. All the screaming and all the running, and it was just a lot for freshmen. And I quit a couple times actually. But actually having to sit down and talk with Joy Lee, like, it's just like she's a mom, you know? She's a mom to me. She cares off the court, and that's something that I'm going to hold on to for forever. She helped me along the way, as well as my teammates when I wanted to give up. So. Well,
as we know, we're all in your corner. We're huge Jamierra Faulkner fans. And you talk about setting a goal of wanting to play on that team in Russia and achieving that goal. So we can't help but want to know and ask, what are some of those other goals you've set out there for yourself? Because you have a way of achieving those.
I want to be in the Olympics. Doesn't have to be for the U.S. It can be for another country's team, you know. But yeah, my next goal is to be in the Olympics. I got to get a championship too. I haven't gotten one yet since I was. I mean, we got like Eastern Conference, but I got to get a championship too.
Well, I think you've got that in your future.
Oh yeah.
Jamierra, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Jamierra Faulkner, WNBA star, European League star with Russia. Very exciting to see where her career is headed, and we'll be watching it right here in Hattiesburg. We'll be back with more. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today.
When you're born to soar, you're destined to rise above. Curiosity leads to exhilarating discoveries. Challenges become opportunities. Passions become filled with purpose. The world looks different from above. The University of Southern Mississippi, where eagles soar.
As we continue with Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joy McNellis, the special guests continue. And as we'll see in just a moment, Nitesha and Niesha Pierce are with us. And as we turn to them, Niesha and Nitesha, so happy to have you all with us. We just want to catch up with you. And Niesha, we'll start with you first. Just give us a little bit of what's been going on the last 6 months, a year or so as you're settling into life after Southern Miss and life after basketball.
Well, life after Southern Miss, reality hits. You have to, well, working a full-time job. I'm an exercise physiologist at a physical therapy clinic, which was of my degree, which was exercise science. So I'm loving my job, and patients loving me. So I really enjoy what I do.
And Nitesha, same question.
Life hit you real hard. Bills, and more bills. Right now, I am currently a basketball coach at my old high school, so I get to pass down my knowledge to them. So I get to see what Coach has been talking about.
And so the next question then becomes, certainly for basketball, it teaches you so much about life. And not only basketball, but basketball at Southern Miss in particular, because the Lady Eagle program is a special program. It starts with Coach McNellis, who I've had the pleasure of working with now for 10 years. Niesha, what are the big takeaways for you from this program?
Well, one thing about this program, it taught you how to, it matured you, it molded you into being an mature adult, taking a lot as far as, real lifetime situations, and just learning how to deal with adversity, these different things, different situations, and it's taking you a long way, and still carrying that same image that you would portray or carry as for the program. But taking a lot from Coach, she taught us a lot, and nowadays, or you may think now, well, hey, you hear this bickering and you don't want to hear from Coach, but really what she's giving you and what she's teaching you is what you're going to live and see throughout in life later on. So I really appreciate that, and I love her for that. And she's like a mom to us. I mean, I really appreciate it.
Nitesha, what can you add to those statements?
Yeah, just like she said, just growing. You have to grow up. Like right here, this is where you have to learn how to be a mature adult, because in the real life, it's not easy at all. It's tough, You facing adversity, just waking up on time, going to work, and just like here, you have to wake up on time for weights and wherever you have to be, just time management. So it carries on.
Well, it's certainly great to be able to catch up with you. And when I think of seeing Lady Eagles come back, I see them coming back and picking up conversations and picking up friendships right where they left off. Well, just a couple of more questions. One of those being, how many of the former teammates and even former Lady Eagles are you able to keep in somewhat contact with?
I would say majority of most of them. I mean, we're like, you come in program as a family, you leave the program as a family. We're all sisters. We're still sisters. Such as Jay, we all came in together. We committed the same day. Just growing as a family. We're still once an Eagle, always a Lady Eagle. So, and that's always going to be here.
Absolutely. Nitesha?
Yeah, same thing. We always keep in touch. We see Danielle from time to time, sometimes T, like Facebook. So you keep in touch with people over social media. So, yeah.
And in closing, as we're wrapping up with Niesha and Nitesha Pierce, your thoughts on this Lady Eagle basketball program? It is just really, you laid a foundation that Coach McNellis and the staffs that have come on and the players have come on have really built on and have soared with. And when you see young players today and you want to be able to encourage them and challenge them and offer them words of wisdom, and those words of wisdom, they come to you pretty quick once you're removed from it, just not even maybe a year or two, but maybe just 6 months removed, a lot of things hit you. What's a word of wisdom to young players and future Lady Eagles?
Hey, when life hits you, never give up. Even with injuries, the adversity, everything that you face, never give up, because it will teach you and it will make you stronger. As the old saying goes, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So, and taking that, it made me into who I am today, and I really appreciate it.
Nitesha?
Listen. Always listen. You all don't ever think you know everything, because you don't. it's always an older person, such as coach, to tell you to lead you in the right direction. Yeah.
And in closing, you touched on like injury, bouncing back from injury. For those that don't know, Niesha and Nitesha had their careers cut short due to injury and battled through so many injuries. That final thought, what was the biggest thing you learned from overcoming that segment of adversity in your life?
Well, one thing I will say, playing this sport, growing up since I was 2, I mean, you live to love it. I mean, this is a passion. And yeah, it easily got taken away from me, but at the end of the day, I'm still blessed and I'm thankful because it always could have been worse. So just overall, I'm just thankful. The injury taught me a lot. It taught me to even be stronger, to bear a lot, even on and off the court. So I really appreciate this. Not saying it like that, but as this injury taught me a lot. So, and I learned a lot from it. It made me a stronger person, a much more stronger person. And
Nitesha, you were right there with Niesha. Y'all were gutting it out, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really made me stronger to face the real life, the real world. So.
Well, you two were inspirations to myself and our staff and your teammates and to all of us here, all the Lady Eagle fans. It was a pleasure to watch you, and it's a pleasure to watch you continue to grow in your future after basketball. Niesha and Nitesha Pierce joining us on Southern Miss Sports today. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get Coach McNellis' thoughts on Niesha, Nitesha, on Jamierra Faulkner, and as she says, a proud mama when she looks back at these Lady Eagles that have graduated through the program. We'll take a break. Back to wrap it up. You're watching Southern Miss Sports today.
Hey basketball fans, the 2018 Conference USA Basketball Championship presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center at the Star is coming to Frisco, Texas. 24 men's and women's basketball teams playing 22 games will take place at Ford Center at the Star, headquarters to the Dallas Cowboys. Join us for 4 days of exciting hoops March 7th through the 10th with CUSA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. For tickets and more information, go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star this March.
As we wrap this edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joy Lee McNellis, it has been certainly a fantastic show, and for me it's been a little bit of, you say flashback, it's been a journey back in time to see the smiling faces of Jamierra Faulkner, Niesha and Nitesha Pierce, 3 players that meant so much to this program in different ways, and boy, they've learned a lot about life. You taught them a lot about life, and they certainly have some fond recollections of what this program meant to them.
You know, being a part of Southern Miss Lady Eagle basketball is a true sisterhood, and I think they're the truest example of it. The 3 of them committed the same day. They came here at Southern Miss the very first day they were here. They were bonded together. All 3 of them today are best friends and still stay in close contact. Jamierra gets a break from Russia, and where does she come? Gulfport, Mississippi, and right on up to Hattiesburg to be with her besties and to be a part of this program. You know, all 3 of those young ladies have meant a lot to this program. You know, during the time, one of the years that both twins were playing, we were shortage of players, and they were injured. And like you said, they laid it on the line. They made sacrifices for this program. Those 2 young ladies will always hold a special place in my heart because, you know what, we would have had to go get walk-ons to come just to be able to compete. And they rode bikes during practice instead of practice. They got medication to be able to play. They got ice baths. You know, they did everything they could to be able to weather the storm. And, you know, that year when we only had 9 players, you know, we finished 15-15, like you said. But I'm going to tell you, it was one of the most rewarding times in my coaching career because you had players like them that truly should not have been playing but made sacrifices for this program because of the love they have for this program. Jamierra Faulkner, what a star. You know, she comes to Southern Miss as a defensive player and because of her athleticism. She leaves this program as a 3-ball shooter, one of the best players that's ever wore a Lady Eagle uniform, and has taken that and is now her next goal is to be an Olympian. You know, she plays in the #1 team in the world, plays in the WNBA for the Chicago Sky. And all 3 of those young ladies came in and made this program better and then when they found it. And I will say this, along the way, you just hope you've made a little bit of an impact in their lives and help them in their growth and maturity. I know they talked about family, and I will tell you, at Southern Miss, the people that come and are a part of our program, it's truly about family. From our staff to their teammates to our support staff to our fans, everybody has a part. And that's what I think makes Southern Miss very special, is it's about family. And you care about each other. I mean, those young ladies have been at my house. I taught them how to clean screens and windows because they wanted to come hang out with me. And I said, well, I'm cleaning windows today. You've got to help me out. All three of them out there learning how. Coach, I've never heard of soaping up window screens. I said, they're dusty. We've got to clean them. And we had a lot of fun that day, and then we grilled hamburgers and had just such a special time. But you know what? That's what Lady Eagle basketball is about. It's about family. It's about laughing. It's about crying together. And it's about learning to grow and agonizing the defeat and agonizing the pain with each other, but celebrate the moments of victory, not just on the basketball court, but in life. And that's what Lady Eagle basketball is all about, Josh.
And Coach, in closing, were those three the faces you thought about when you were sore, right after you're in recovery, after surgery, and you're thinking back and you're thinking ahead, and you're thinking about wanting to have the opportunity to coach so many of the faces of players that you're recruiting right now, but it was also stories like that have sustained you. Were those some of the faces you thought about?
Indeed, there's no doubt. And, those three were three of the first to reach out to me to be able to encourage me. Because I will tell you, Niesha and Nitesha with their injuries, Josh, I mean, Nitesha had 4 knee surgeries. Niesha had 2 knee surgeries. And, again, they've overcome a lot. The two of them, we were discussing this with Jamierra, they have impacted Jamierra. Jamierra hurt her knee playing with the Chicago Sky, did not play this past summer with the Sky because of rehabbing her knee injury. And on her low days, on her days that she was disappointed and didn't think she could make it, it was the twins that helped push her through, and she said that. So again, Josh, I think that, when you're family, and blood family is so important, but the extended family that becomes a part of a team. And I tell our players now, enjoy the time. Enjoy the time of putting your hand in a huddle and saying team, because there will come that day when you're working and there's no team to put your hand in the huddle. It's just you're working, and the only time you get to enjoy the part of team is when you're back at Southern Miss and reminiscing of the great memories. And so, we did enjoy our time with them, and they enjoy their time of coming back. And again, just really thankful to be able to have such great memories with those 3 young ladies and so many other Lady Eagles that have come in, been a part of this program, and left it better than they found it.
Well, I certainly can echo the sentiments of Coach McNellis. She coached me up in my first few years here in Hattiesburg. Wouldn't be where I am today without Coach. And we just appreciate you. We appreciate all you fans for watching us. When I think of Lady Eagle basketball, pride, tradition, family, excellence. As Niesha and Nitesha said, in particular Niesha, she said it before Niesha could, once a Lady Eagle, always a Lady Eagle. And that is certainly the case. And so very exciting to see where this program is headed. For Craig Adams, for Coach McNellis, I'm Josh West. We hope you've enjoyed watching Southern Miss Sports Today.